We could have homes on separate coasts, go dive in Greece with squids. Could have been so bleeping rich, but instead we had kids. They won't smile for a photo, they won't eat the food we choose. That's why we're heading to the Parents' Lounge to drown ourselves in booze. Every day we're more exhausted, we haven't slept in years. They hit me in the nuts so bad, my eyes filled up with tears. And yes, we'd like to fake our death and go off of the grids, but the truth is we are softies and we truly love our kids. Join us every Tuesday night to laugh at all our pain. Evening in the Parents' Lounge is the cure to staying sane. Welcome, everybody, to a very special Halloween version of the Parents' Lounge.
Wow! All right.
Yeah,
that was fantastic, my friend.
Thanks, man. I'm Jamie Kaler, joined as always by Jason Gowan. We're doing a very special Thursday night show because we have some amazing guests. Greg and Dana Newkirk are joining us, and we're doing.
What's up?
Kyle's here. Should we just bring the Mulligan in? Let's
just
our third co-host of the evening, Kate Mulligan, join us. Hey, buddy.
You guys, somebody put a ghost in my computer. Was it the Newkirks?
It was
the
ghost,
or did one of your kids shove a gummy bear in the HDMI port? Because that's what happened to me.
It's the police. The police put the ghost in the machine. Am I that old? I'm the only one who references.
Yeah. Yes.
No, I get it.
Oh, I don't.
You know what? Now that I realize we're all in synchronicity, so it's okay.
I gotta tell you, I tried my HDMI. Basically, whatever. The bottom line is, how dare you, Kyle? The HDMI to switch back and forth between.
Kate, let me stop you there. No one cares.
Okay,
that's all I wanted to say.
Oh, so good. The bedside manners right out of the gate.
Right out of the chute.
Like Narcolepsy.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're tuning in and you have never been here before, we are the Parents' Lounge, and hilariously enough, Greg Newkirk and I started ghost hunting together in 1998 in the backwoods
of back then.
Pennsylvania. Greg and I, because our town didn't have cable, had nothing else to do, and so we sought out in search of the unexplained. And now he has a museum full of haunted objects, and I'm raising 3 demon children.
I think, honestly, I would say your life is way scarier than his life. And here's what's funny is ghost hunting actually brought you and I together because I hosted a little show on Discovery called Haunted Live. And then because that did so well with the Tennessee Wraith Chasers, who I love, super good friends of mine. And we used to do weekly, I had to fly to Nashville to do crazy ghost hunts in Civil War plantation. I mean, it was nuts. And then because that did really well, we did a Haunted Live Salem edition with Jack Osborne and all the big name. Greg and Dana were there. And Dave Schrader was there. And Dave Schrader said, hey, my friend has a little parents podcast. You should jump on. And you were doing Dadpocalypse. And then I did your show as a guest. And the rest is history.
He never left.
I never left.
I fit in the equation because I'm as white as a ghost. So
yeah. Yes.
That's
also
how
true.
You guys brought me in.
Also, you have a vagina, which was, something this show was lacking.
Yeah.
Well, here's what's really funny too, because as a parent, I got brought in last second to be the host of Haunted Live with the Tennessee Wraith Chasers. And I'm also a comic. I have a couple of comedy albums, and I do stand-up, as we all did. We just did the show in Sarah, Pennsylvania. We're pretty funny parents. And the very first show, we were doing a live ghost hunt in some crazy mansion. And I was there with my buddy James McDaniel, who was running social media. And we're live on live television on Discovery. And I'm talking to the guys from Tennessee Wraith Chasers, and they're telling me, I'm going, hey, what's happening in the house? And they're explaining it to me very specifically. Jamie, you're not going to believe it. There's all kinds of activity. And I could see all kinds of orbs and stuff going off on the cameras and stuff. And he's like, most of the activities up in the nursery. It's pretty scary up there. And without missing a beat, I was like, trust me, dude, I got kids. They are absolutely terrifying. And then everybody on the cast, the Tennessee Wraith Chasers, everybody laughs or whatever. And then we cut to commercial break, and the producers are like, dude, no more with the jokes. And so I was like, I got a little wake
I
up.
find it interesting that they picked you and didn't expect jokes to come through. Like it feels like a weird fit.
I hosted a show called America Facts versus Fiction that was less jokey and more about history. So I loved it. It was super fun. And honestly, I love the ghost hunting portion, but you know what I really loved about it was the history. Like each house and the ghosts and stuff was very cool. And there was so many things that were super unexplained, and I was like freaked out. But I also loved reading the actual history about the people who lived in that house in 1870 and how their lives were during this, during the Civil War and stuff. So it was pretty great. So I really,
Jamie, do you have a haunting happening in your house right now?
Somebody's haunting.
That's me. Yeah.
Oh, is it you?
I quite literally keep my children silent all day long so my husband can conduct his casting sessions, so that he can get the writer's room put together, and he cannot do me the simple courtesy of keeping them in quiet for 1 hour every night when I'm trying to do this.
It's the parents' lounge.
Wild animals.
Let me ask you this. How do you keep them quiet during the day? Is it ether? Are you using ether, or are you using Benadryl, or do you just choke them out?
Jamie, how dare you?
I use a Tylenol PM and Kool-Aid cocktail.
Do you do I do lemonade with
Jamie.
Yeah.
I just put a pillow over their face. How could you?
I build a pillow fort that's really tight.
That's really tight. It's just a small pillow fort directly on their faces.
We have a ton of people in. This is a really special show. I'm so excited that these guys came back. Jason, why don't you take the honors and let's get it on.
You've seen them. Well, if there's ever been a paranormal show that was any good, they've been in it. They went Bigfoot hunting with Jeff Goldblum. They have done. They've got so many of their own projects out that it's too many to list. Hellier, the Bigfoot hunter still searching. They go on and on and on and on. Ladies and gentlemen, the legendary Greg and Dana Newkirk.
Oh, get out of here.
Come on now.
That's too nice.
Hello.
Hi, guys. I'm so psyched to be here. Thanks for having us. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
So let's just get this out of the way. I have seen so many people commenting, are Greg and Dana announcing children on the show?
Yes.
No, we have we have cats and haunted children, haunted things.
You guys are so gracious for allowing us to come hang out in the parents' lounge on a technicality.
Yeah, we snuck our way in.
Appreciate that.
I feel like Billy's my adopted nephew.
Oh, there you
go.
Yeah.
We also after you're on our
show once.
After you're on our show, we like to send all of our guests a little parting gift, and it just happens to be one of our children. So you will be getting children in the mail shortly.
Well, we'll put them on the shelf with all the other haunted objects.
Yes.
Same as we do.
You met Jace, but you have not met the twins in real life, right?
God, I'm scared to.
There's good. Don't start, Mulligan, because that's how the devil works. That's how the devil works. He convinced you. You're under his thrall.
I'm just saying.
Well, shouldn't we eventually put a show together where we just chase down haunted children? Shouldn't we?
Yes.
I will tell you, kids, not unlike dogs, are super sensitive to, like, sometimes my daughter will wake up in the morning or whatever and be like, I talked to grandma last night. Like don't you think? I think they're not jaded yet. They still are so open that in many ways they are perfect conduits.
Yeah.
To be clear, Grandma's alive. Sorry, Jamie forgot to tell you. Like that was not that
No,
weird.
she had just
They
called.
talked-
She was on
Yeah, it
the
was just a-
Axon. Yeah,
I
no.
was sorry. We should have clarified that. But
Yeah.
It's great though because the kids are, they're asked to use their imagination and to play and to engage with that side of themselves.
Yeah.
And you're right, it's like they haven't been told not to believe in that stuff yet, so there's no reason for it not to for that connection not to be there.
See, the best advice we can give is tell your kids that the monsters under their in their closet are real.
Yeah, they probably
Jamie
are
actually
real.
does.
Monsters Inc. already clarified
I
that
do.
for us.
I
There
actually
you
did.
go.
She said she had spiders in her bed, and I said, "Yeah, I found my spiders, and I put them all in the hall. So stay in your bed, or you're not going to make it through the night."
Oh, perfect.
That's a true story. Yeah, they do come out to say the craziest things though. Sometimes where you're like, wait, where did you hear that? Wait, what is that? They're also bluntly honest when they're like, Dad, you're fat. They say stuff like that too.
Oh,
They're just-
kids, yeah. No filter.
I love a creepy kid. Like I love like a real creepy kid saying really creepy stuff. That's my favorite thing ever.
Were you a creepy kid?
I think I was. I did. So I have a cousin who is also a ghost hunter back in the day, and she would sleepwalk, but she would do like all the creepy kid things. Like she would, talk in her sleep about the man standing behind the bureau and like, why is there an orange ghost in the But I love creepy kid stuff.
Wait, are you talking about legendary KWPRS Jen?
Jen Kieswetter, my fellow girly ghost hunter member, was a creepiest kid ever, and she would literally say the scariest stuff all the time. It was awesome.
Dana holds the distinction of being on one of the very first ghost hunting teams, and all from television, but also the first all-female team.
Yeah, we were back in Canada when I'm originally from Canada, and back in 2004, my fellow team members and I had one of the very first ghost hunting television shows on a Canadian network. We got to travel all over Canada and investigate creepy haunted places, and it was incredible. But yes, Jen was a creepy kid. She was the creepiest.
You guys were the SCTV of ghost hunting.
We
were.
were the kids in the hall of ghost hunters.
Yeah.
They got a lot more seasons though.
Yeah, they did. We unfortunately we had one season. I always joke that I think we made it to TV like 6 months before Ghost Hunters did. So at least that's my claim to fame. But like, we got one season and they're still going. So, I think they won that one.
Can I ask? This is something that I'm actually quite curious about, and it may not be a good question, but it sure is my question. Why is this spooky season? Like, what is it about the fall? Is it just that, like, what about? Obviously, I know that the weather has a chill in it, but like, why am I not scared in the summer in the middle of the day? Like, is there any science or reason for that?
There's culturally a lot of reasons why this tends to be the spookiest time of year. One of the biggest ones is, and every year the words, you might have heard of the word Samhain. Samhain is a pagan celebration.
You've probably heard it pronounced Sam.
Probably
Sam Hain.
Yeah,
That's how they said it on Real Ghostbusters.
Yeah, it's Samhain. And so Samhain is it's an ancient Celtic festival that is the final of 3 harvest festivals. And it's the time of year when it's believed that the veil is the thinnest. Traditionally, it was the festival where many of the cattle and the animals were slaughtered, which kind of gave it that creepy kind of over vibe. But
it's also the season when everything's dying.
It's a season when everything's dying. It's a celebration.
And it gets darker. It gets darker earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a celebration when we can spend time thinking about our ancestors, maybe thinking about the people who have passed throughout the years, or animals that are our pets, any of the people that are animals that we've loved. And it's sort of a celebration of death and kind of it's re-looking at death from the eyes of celebration and reverence, as opposed to
what's funny, we have so they do, we're in Los Angeles, and Dia de la Muerte is very big here. And I went to the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. I highly recommend, by the way, for the Day of the Dead. And it's incredible, and you walk around, and I didn't really know the holiday until I went. And do you know the origins of that holiday? Of it, because that's is it Mexico? Like nowhere else in the world really celebrates Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's an American holiday, but Dia de la Muerte is Spanish or something. Where it's a day where it's what you just said. They honor their dead.
Yeah,
and I always was like, what a great holiday. And I'm not sure why we don't celebrate that. Like that to me makes sense to go, hey, one day a year, it's like Veterans Day. Like, whoever's passed, let's celebrate. And so they would go to the cemetery and the graves and lay out stuff. And it was kind of a party, and it was super fun.
That's
you can usually get a pretty good taco special that day.
They had amazing tacos.
It's a fun thing though. So I talk to people a lot about kind of tapping into this time of year in terms of remembering the people who we've loved and maybe going and spending some extra time. One of the things that I talk a lot about is creating a Samhain or creating a spooky season altar or a sacred space with photos of family members and maybe your ancestors or pets or people, friends who have passed, and kind of reapproaching it as a time to celebrate their lives and to maybe be a little bit closer to them. That's why it's spooky.
That's beautiful.
I love, by the way, everyone's comments are so on point. It's like this crazy conversation going on, and we'll try to share as many as we can. We, if you have questions, please ask, because this is all live, and it's really cool to have you guys for this.
The more embarrassing, the better.
Yeah, trust me, that's where Mulligan comes in.
How dare you?
How dare you?
Were you guys creepy kids? Did any of you? Were you creepy kids?
No.
Greg, I've looked like a giant baby since 1997.
That's
not really a thing for me.
I mean, look at my face. I was a redhead, and I looked like the Green Goblin. So yeah, it was terrifying.
Yeah,
I was terrified, dude. I got children. I have two redheads. The children of the corn. People called me Malachi. Yeah, I was, and then of course I cursed them. I put real curses on people, and those people aren't doing well. I'm not gonna lie to you. Their lives did not turn out the way they thought because
Good
of my
for
curse.
you. Good for you.
I got it. The power's in the fingertips. So I do what I do. Yeah, I was super. I don't know. I was a little creepy. I'm creepy.
So, like for you guys, I mean, you guys kind of live Halloween all year round. What do you? I mean, is there something you do differently this season? Like, how do you guys warm up? Is there like movies you watch? What do you guys do?
You know, it's funny. We don't even decorate. Our friend Connor has been hanging out with us, and he's been so frustrated because we don't even decorate for Halloween because the inside of the house is Halloween.
Kind of always spooky.
yeah.
We don't really do a whole lot, but our friends have convinced us, so we have some lights and stuff out. But
yeah, I mean, we've got like traditional movies that we watch, and we decided last year, we moved into our house last year, so we decided we would be the full-size candy bar house.
That was the big decision.
That's what we are.
I'm that house too.
Yeah, you have to be.
Hold on. Walter Matthau's about to tell you. Yeah, here we go. That's right. He hates full-size candy.
Full-size candy bars.
I don't even want my kid to have the snack size. They come home with. I have to throw them. I mean, dude, there's too much candy. The kid comes home with a treasure trove.
There's no such thing. There's no such thing. It's Halloween.
Have you seen a crazy 9-year-old redheaded kid hopped up on Snickers? You don't want to see it.
That's the problem.
It's worse than a heroin addict. It's like she's bouncing off the walls. It's insanity.
We're the enabling aunts and uncles.
That's true.
So we give them loud toys.
Yeah.
We're the ones who buy our nieces and nephews drum sets.
Yes. And then we give them back.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the whistle.
Yeah.
My wife just came back. She was on the trip. She came back with harmonicas for the kid. I was like, "Are you insane? You give a kid a harmonica?" She's like, "No, they'd love it." Of course they do. What are you nuts?
Oh, we got a question from the chat. What do you all on the panel think about old homes being bought for the purpose of investigations by anyone and everyone? Do you worry about it opening portals?
Ooh.
Guys, I think this one's probably for me. I'll handle this one.
Yeah, I feel like that.
So, first of all, yeah, definitely opening portals.
We're not ever worried about that type of thing.
Yeah.
I think I get more worried about places where terrible tragedies have happened that are exploited maybe because of those tragedies. But you can haunt any place that you want, like any place that you want to. If you start telling people it's haunted, it'll become haunted soon enough. Like we've seen so many places over the years. I'm sure, Jason, you have too. You've been in this as long as I have.
Yeah.
You see places that maybe you used to investigate as an urban explorer with there was no ghostly history at all, and then it's on one paranormal TV show, and all of a sudden it's one of the most haunted places in the world. And people do have experiences in those places because so many people have put intention and energy into them.
Yeah.
But I think that in those cases, we're not necessarily opening portals or anything like that. I think we are haunting these places with our intentions. And we interact with those things, sometimes consciously, sometimes subconsciously. So I don't really worry too much about people who buy places to investigate. I think if people are having fun and they're keeping it light, it's not a big deal.
I agree.
Let me ask you, when you guys say tragedies in a house, do you mean like a 3-year-old shoving a diaper into a toilet and then repeatedly flushing it and just getting out? Is that the tragedy you're talking about? Because my house is haunted then.
Can you imagine the residual energy of that?
Oh my God.
It just you're in there on Halloween night, and all of a sudden you just hear this 3-year-old giggling.
Yeah, I hear the toilet always overflows on the same day.
So no joke, my twins flooded their daycare.
Oh my God.
Bravo.
By the way, it's better than flooding your house, just so we're on the same.
I got to the school and the teacher's waiting at the door with a clipboard looking straight at me, and I said, oh no, this can't be good. I got up there and they escaped from her, and she could hear them in the bathroom just laughing and yelling, "Yay, flush, flush, yay!" And then water started pouring out underneath the door. They took 3 janitors to fix their mess.
I gotta tell you, this means they're speaking and they've been nonverbal, so I'm happy for you.
Well, I mean, they speak like minions, but they're trying.
They said, "Yay, flush, flush." That's big news.
Yeah, I mean, it's more than I say here.
Listen,
Well, the problem is minions do what they're told, and I don't think these kids do what they're told. So you're using the term minions improperly.
Greg and Dana, I have a question for you guys. How do you guys, when you say you bought your house last year, what goes into you guys deciding if you're going to live in a house? Like, what kind of equipment do you bring to the open house?
Oh, you know what? This place was only built in like 89 or something like that. And the thing is, we get to bring our own ghosts with us. We have so much weird stuff that they're coming no matter what. It doesn't matter. We think more about like having the storage space to store all of this stuff.
We're like
than anything else.
Looking at the basement, going like, can this hold all of our weird haunted objects? That was kind of where our head was at more than anything else.
You're talking to parents. We have the same.
That's
process.
Yeah.
And some of them are haunted, but it's just toys. All day we're like, where are we going to put this? What is happening? We need like spare bedroom damn toys into.
What's the strangest thing that, I mean, Jason tells us a story about how he accidentally brought a haunted object home.
Oh, no. These are the people that I did that with.
Yes. Yeah.
So how are you guys, if that's what happened when he had it, and that, like, how on earth are you guys living with multitudes of haunted things?
Some things don't get along, so they have to be separated because there's, you guys know, there's always that one kid in class you don't want your kid hanging out with. They're bad influence.
The bad influence.
Yes, they're my kids.
Yes. Yeah. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So there's some stuff that has to be kept separately from other things. There's some things that we just don't have out on display. And then, Dana is like regularly cleansing out old energy in the house. Sometimes things feel weird and stagnant.
I think of it like it's no different than sort of your regular house cleaning. It's just something that you do. And sometimes with all of these different types of energies hanging out together, they get weird. So you just sort of have to, like, the same way you would vacuum your floor, you just have to cleanse the energy out so that it doesn't get too rooted and stagnant.
Yep.
I love that comment. The Newkirk's haunted parenting is surprisingly relatable to human parenting. It so much is. All those years of ghost hunting prepared me for most of this.
It's true. Might be the best parenting guests of all time. What you're doing in life is really the exact same thing that we're doing.
It's terrible though, because people keep sending us children.
But if I ever tried to take my kids and put them in a mountain in the Catskills and leave them, they would not be okay.
That would be frowned upon.
That's true. Just don't tell anyone.
Well, listen, because it is the scariest time of the year, what are you? You were talking about your classic horror films that you watch, and I want to hear from the people in the audience too. Ooh. If you had like your 2 or 3 films that every year you're like, I gotta watch this. What are your scariest?
And
films?
why is it Hocus Pocus?
Oh, we watch Hocus
always
Pocus.
Hocus Pocus.
By the way, the new one I saw getting a little bit of crap, but I actually really enjoyed Hocus Pocus
super
too.
Cute.
I thought it was quite a gift that we got that movie because
Yeah.
we shouldn't have gotten that movie.
And it
We
was like,
should not. We
No.
did not deserve it.
No,
I saw people saying like it was too campy, and I was like, "Did you see the first Hocus Pocus
Were you
movie?"
around for the first?
Yeah, we watched it. Oh my
Oh
god!
yeah, look
yeah.
at
That's so great.
Winifred?
That's what she's doing. That's my daughter for this year's
That
Halloween.
is
She's
so
gonna be.
there's no denying she's yours.
She's gonna be Winifred.
Aw.
By the way, I did that hair. That was me.
That's
I did.
incredible.
I was out of town. I
clear.
did her hair.
That was clear. You knew that.
Oh, was that? It was that you mulligan.
But yeah, Hocus Pocus is definitely on the list.
Beetlejuice is another
Beetlejuice.
one. And it's fun because we have friends who've never seen Beetlejuice before.
Never.
And it's always fun to sit someone down and tell them, hey, you're going to watch this movie with me. What do you think it's about? And our friends thought it was about the King of Halloween.
They said they thought it was with the
which
King of
was
Halloween.
great.
And I was like, kind of. I mean, it's in terms of like scary ones, I feel like the scariest is always got to be The Exorcist.
Oh, we
You
watch
have
The
to have
Exorcist every
Is The
season.
Exorcist your
Terrifying.
scariest film of all time?
It's in my top 3.
Yeah, it's got to
Yes, it is. It's right up. It's still. I've seen it at least once a year for my whole life, and I'm still scared every single time I watch
Yeah,
it. It's so
that's great.
scary.
be. Signs.
Signs
is
is
one that
great.
I watch every
Wow,
season.
Wow, that's a deep pull.
Love it.
Mhm.
Nice Shyamalan.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
love it. Kind of falls
Mine
apart
are
again, but
Ghostbusters, Gremlins, because Gremlins is both Christmas and Halloween, and
absolutely.
also Arachnophobia is one of my favorites.
Oh, that movie is so
for
great.
someone who's had such terrible luck
yeah,
with
you've
spiders,
been bit by so many brown
I would
recluse
imagine
spiders.
you would not like to watch that movie.
Well, I was telling Jamie and I talked about it earlier today, and I watched a documentary about how they made it and how they would heat the floor underneath the spiders to make them run, and like
Oh.
it made it such a more terrifying experience for me.
Were you like, my house needs to be cold at all times?
Yeah.
That I run an air conditioner all year long.
Oof.
Mike Archer's got mine. I think Halloween.
Halloween
hands
is
down.
so great.
I think Halloween and the first Friday the 13th is absolutely terrible. Honestly, Jaws. Jaws is. I think Jaws is
Mhm.
Classic.
movies on earth.
I also like The Descent.
Oh my god, yeah, that
That's a
movie's
great one.
terrifying.
That's my question. So we all know Halloween, Friday the 13th. What are the ones that you go off the chart and you go, actually, this one? Like, I still think The Ring is one of the scariest films ever made.
Incredible. Yeah.
Until she
There's a-
shows up at your house and
That's a
tries to
good
take your
pull
kid.
because I thought The Descent was super scary.
It is
Yeah.
very
But it's
scary.
Because it's claustrophobia plus monsters.
But did you see the British? It was like there was a UK version of it first. There's 2 Descents.
I did not know that.
No.
Oh,
So that's
girl.
like
kidding.
Girl. That British
I don't think
one.
I even knew that.
Mm.
Wow, that's
Child's
awesome.
Play.
We're gonna have to
Child's
look
Play.
that up.
A little. I don't know if
Is
it's
it a-
scary. The Ring is. I think The Ring is
The
absolutely
Descent
terrible.
might be called something else. The British one. Narcolepsy.
I dig Mothman Prophecies. That's
Oh,
another one
so
that
scary.
we watch.
Wow,
It's
that's a deep pull.
more
Yeah.
about Chris. It's more Christmas time,
It's
but
still scary. Like, it's perfect.
such
for
a
it.
great
What's
adaptation.
funny is I've been to Point Pleasant with you guys.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a very
That's right.
spooky
Get to see the
place.
big round Mothman butt.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
for genre, you guys like hauntings, possessions.
Yes. Aliens.
You know, relatable stuff.
Actually, I think the first Alien is one of the scariest films ever made.
It is.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
for sure.
Scream. I thought Scream was really good. That's a
The
good
original
call.
is fantastic.
Has anybody
Yeah.
watched any of the new ones? I just watched X and Barbarian.
I haven't seen Barbarian yet.
We haven't seen either
yeah.
of those yet. I'm stoked.
X is really good. So I thought Barbarian was really good. There's so many nowadays. Like we were just talking about it. I was in one last year called Aftermath that was on Netflix that did really well. And it was another one, The Wicked. I
Oh,
did
yeah,
about
yeah.
witches. I played the town. I'm always the town sheriff. Was like, you kids get out of here. And then
We're
so-
living in the
Yeah.
golden era of horror film.
We are.
We
It's
really are.
wonderful. It's so great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
There is a movie, and somebody's gonna have to help me in the chat. Narcolepsy or Troy, or you guys actually. But it's a little kid that plays this game, and it's in Spanish. I want to say the movie's in Spanish, and they go uno dos tres toca la pared, which is like 1 2 3 knock on the door, and
Yeah.
this kid goes missing,
Oh.
and
Mm.
they I can't give it away. It is one of truly the most terrifying movies I've ever seen.
Is it?
And part of it is because it's one of those things where you're like, well, this could really happen.
It's not
See,
the
I
orphanage, is
like-
it?
I'm that.
Mm.
So as far as horror films, I like, You know the scariest movie, honestly, still to this day haunts me. It's called The Vanishing, and it was originally a French film. And the girl goes into the supermarket, and the guy just takes her. And the boyfriend is like, and they had a fight, and then she just disappears. They remade it with Sandra Bullock and Kiefer Sutherland and Jeff Bridges.
Yeah,
and it is because it's real. Like you're like,
yeah.
He goes.
Greg, somebody just brought up Blair Witch, which is kind of how where we're at all right now.
I was telling the story about how you and I knew each other, and to one of our friends today, talking about how you hid out in the cemetery and made a bunch of Blair Witch twig signs to hang from the trees, and then scare the living daylights out of our friend Nick.
Well, you guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but don't you have a real almost we're at the scene of a murder?
Yes.
Right.
Dude. Greg, tell the story.
I mean, you guys need to tell.
I want to hear the story. I also just want to say Troy just validated me. It's the orphanage.
Oh, that's
what
Greg was thinking. Yes.
Okay. Yes, it's so good. Check out the orphanage if you haven't.
Good.
And yes,
like Annie. Oh, that Annie movie. Oh my God, it's terrifying. There's this monster, Daddy Warbucks.
Are you kidding me? The lead's a redhead. It's a nightmare.
Wait, what?
What?
Well,
Greg,
Jason,
tell the story of Barkley Mountain.
So this we didn't know what we were doing when we first started ghost hunting.
You should start off also by saying Greg and Jason grew up together.
Yes.
And traipsed around rural Pennsylvania looking for all sorts of scary, haunted, and nightmarish places.
And we found this place.
And they found one.
Barkley Cemetery.
They found many.
And
let's just say rural Pennsylvania.
Yes, exactly.
I think
Jake and Jamie were just here. They know what you're talking about.
All right. Yes, that's right.
It's like
even the Dandy Mart. It was pretty terrifying. The whole place.
I'll tell you what. It's one big cemetery with a few houses every once in a while.
Oh yeah. Oh for sure. Well, now you know why Jason is the way he is.
You are not wrong.
We found this old cemetery. It's all that's left of an old mining town up at the top of this mountain in the middle of nowhere. I mean, the only stuff that's up there are hunting cabins. And this cemetery, they take care of it now. But when we found it, no one had ever gone there. It's on this dirt road that, the grass grows in the middle of it real high. You don't really want to drive anything like we were driving to get there. And it looked like, the way that the trees had canopy overhead, full moon.
It's like a movie set.
It looks like a movie set.
It really was like a movie set.
The coyotes are howling around you. Everything about it is so terrifying, particularly if you're like a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
And we find this place and we are like, we're going to come back here and we're going to go on a ghost hunt. And we had 2 cars full of kids. And to give you an idea of how seriously we took it at the time, we all had medieval weapons for some reason.
No, the reason is because Greg and I were huge Buffy the Vampire Slayer fans.
That's true.
Really quick, I want to hear what's your medieval weapon of choice, because I know what my choice is. What's your medieval weapon of choice?
A flail, of course.
What's the flail?
Which one's a flail?
It's like a mace. Yeah, it's got the spikes on the ball.
Oh, that's what I want. That's the mace, right?
Yeah.
It's like when I watch Spartacus and the one dude has the net and the trident, and I'm like, I don't know about that.
Screw that. No,
I was a crossbow man at the time.
Oh yeah, Jason was very dangerous with the crossbow. We used to in shop class. We used to.
Didn't one of you have a coat hanger though, or like a
curtain rod?
A curtain rod.
I believe that was Bill Ango.
Nick had a Civil War sword, like a Civil War replica sword.
You guys are just making up the rules.
And then some of us.
So basically, I have long thought that the Duffer Brothers stole Stranger Things from our old website.
It's very possible.
So we've got these 2 cars packed with kids, all holding axes and medieval weapons and BB guns, and we get up to the middle of nowhere. And there's this V that you have to take, and you go down the one road, and it's just this 1-lane road. It's the middle of the night. It's like 1 a.m. There should be nobody up there, and there's headlights coming the other way, and there's a standoff that happens, and we can't see what's going on in that car.
And like the detail that like you have to understand is how isolated this place is. It's in the middle of nowhere on a mountain. Like there's nobody around for miles and miles and miles.
And it was a Wednesday night.
Yeah, we didn't go during the weekends. We didn't want to ever run into anybody. And so it's the middle of the week, middle of the night. There's headlights, and we have this awkward standoff for 5 minutes. And then the headlights start to creep closer and closer. And we kind of pull off as much as we can. And we see it's this white truck. And there's this dude just mean mugging us. And he just sees these kids gripping these axes and holding like BB guns and stuff.
Mhm.
And he drives off. So we're like, well, that was weird. What in the world was this guy doing up here? Because it's a dead end in the middle of the woods. And then there's the cemetery. So we get up there and we're having a ghost hunt. We get some really weird activity. Our friend Nick is like, we should go check down this path down here. We're like, the cemetery's up here though, Nick. We don't want to go down there. What are you, an idiot? Well, turns out, had we listened to Nick, we would have found a dead body because the dude in the truck was pulled over by the police at a gas station because blood was dripping out of his truck bed. He had just shot a man over a four-wheeler, 12 times or something with a 22?
Yeah. Well, 12 times earlier and then another 26 in the cemetery.
Oh my God, that's so intense.
And we met that guy, and I swear if we didn't have those weapons on us, we would have been bad.
Yeah.
I also think our sheer numbers helped.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, the story kind of continues too, because a few years later, Greg returned to the cemetery with his sister, who had never ghost hunted before.
She was getting ready to move to Florida, and she was like, "You've never taken me with your friends. You've never ghost hunting." I was like, "I'll take you right now, but I don't want to drive, and I don't want to bring any equipment." And so she's like, "Yeah, that's fine, that's fine." I was like, "All right, we're gonna go to Barkley." So we drive out there, her and her boyfriend and one of their friends, and we get out to the cemetery. And almost immediately there's kids laughing. And this cemetery is mostly children buried there.
I've heard it before.
And they're like freaked out. And they're like, what do we do? And I was like, this is what you wanted. Talk to them. Just talk and offer to play a game. And as they're talking, I see this guy maybe 100 yards out. And I didn't, the idea of something ghostly didn't even enter my mind because the guy was physically there. And
he said he was like in overalls.
He was wearing like overalls. He was bald. He had a bushy beard. And I said, I thought it might have been a hunter or something. And I didn't want us to get shot.
I mean, like, there's hunting cabins all over up there.
All over. And I was like, oh, hey. And he turns and he looks at me. And then he turns back and he walks off into the woods. And I went, that's weird. And then later I'm like, that guy didn't make any noise as he was moving through the brush. That was like impossible. Ghost. And the weird thing was he wasn't dressed like an old miner or anything like that. So it never made sense to me until I was telling Jason this story years later.
This was like 3-4 years.
We had to have been together to do.
We were there.
Or something.
We were doing the event at Waverly.
Yeah,
that's right. And I tell Jason the story, and he goes, "Hang on a second." And he gets on his phone. He texts. And then he shows me a picture and he goes, is this the guy? And I'm like, oh, it was him. That's the guy. It was the guy who had been shot.
The guy whose body had been
I saw his ghost. I saw it in that cemetery. That's why he didn't look like he was an old miner. He was the dude whose body was dropped there. Ed Bond. Yeah. And that's a ghost story that played out over like 10 years.
Like 10, 15 years. Yeah.
So
completely on accident.
In movies, they would make a ghost of that guy have a bunch of holes in his body. That's not how it works.
I didn't see anything like that. Like I said, I thought, oh, this guy's a hunter because he looked modern and he didn't look, translucent or anything like that. But he made no noise when he walked into the woods. And then we realized there's no cabins around the cemetery.
Yeah, why would a person in the middle of the night wander into a cemetery and then walk off into the woods without saying anything either? Yeah. I think the fact that the interesting thing was the picture that Jason showed Greg was like, I'd heard this story so many times. And I always remember the description of like the clothes and like how interesting it was. And the photo was like the exact same exact same outfit.
That comment.
Tim Sanfey says, only in rural Pennsylvania do you take your sister on a date to a cemetery.
Well, that's true. Rural Pennsylvania.
Okay, that's it.
Low hanging fruit.
Yeah. Dana, I have to say, to hear you say like The Exorcist still scares you, I just assume that you two don't get scared. Is that an incorrect assumption?
I am the biggest chicken. You can ask Jason. I'm the biggest chicken on the planet. I still to this day, I mean, we've been investigating the paranormal since 2000. This is when my ghost hunting team started their website. And I've had countless experiences, and I'm still afraid every single time. It still scares me. And I kind of love that. I kind of like
being scared.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
But sometimes, let me ask you this: who's like? Sometimes it gets sexy, right? Like Ghost.
Does it?
That Swayze is a beautiful ghost.
Here's the thing. Do you know how many times these gentlemen have pushed me out of the way to get away from ghosts?
I am particularly guilty of that, Diane. I apologize.
I've been used as a human shield by both of these people so many times from ghosts and also coyotes.
You're a witch. Wave your wand. Get rid of them.
I've had to get really tough.
What about all the ghost movies with a the dead husband comes back and helps his wife find like a new relationship? You know what I mean?
Oh, would you do that for me?
Nope.
So say you die early, Dana, do you come back and do you torment him or do you help him move on with his life?
I'm a Leo, and if you know anything about Leos, you'll know that I'll just haunt him the whole. I'll be your ghost wife. That's
she
it.
will be my ghost wife.
There's so much payback you will get for Bilbo and other things.
That's why I got to go first.
No, it's terrible.
That would be a great show, though, like with a husband and the dead wife's a ghost, but they still live together. And
that
they
would be a
kind of run
great
the
show.
house.
I would watch.
I like that.
Yeah,
get cracking,
That new
guys.
show on CBS, Ghost, is doing well. Apparently, everybody loves ghosts.
Yeah. I mean, Travel Channel's nothing but ghosts now, so it's clearly working.
Ghosts are,
It's a good investment. Ghosts are.
Can I ask, why are we scared of ghosts? Because what can they do?
There it is.
Truly. And
Good
like, I
question.
understand like what they can do is infest our brains and make us do crazy things. But
Can they though?
I don't know. You tell me.
Why can't we have a viable, happy relationship with a ghost? Why can't it just be like, that's the guy?
There have been people who've married them.
We drink.
There are.
Mm-hmm.
What?
So our opinions on ghosts are a little bit different than most people's, I think. And I think that the reason that ghosts scare us personally, and this is just my personal opinion, take it or leave it. I think that most ghost stories or even paranormal phenomena in general are evolutionary processes that help us push ourselves out of places where maybe we're not dealing with our grief properly. Maybe it's where we don't do a whole lot of home investigations because usually the people in these places, they don't need someone to tell them monsters are real. They need someone who can tell them, clean your house, repair your relationships. You start to see poltergeist phenomena around people who are going through traumatic experiences. You see people who are maybe not dealing with issues in their home and family life. So I think that a lot of the times when you see a ghost, we for some reason, I think, have it backwards. People say that ghosts have unfinished business and that's why they stay. But I think that we have unfinished business and that's why we bring them back. A lot of the times when we see people, when we see ghosts of loved ones, we see them as the best they've ever looked in our memory. And it's usually times when we haven't maybe had time to grieve. We didn't get to say goodbye. We didn't get to say, I love you one last time. And that's the story you hear. You hear the ghost of grandma coming back to say, hey, I just want you to know I'm okay. I love you. You're going to be okay. And then that's it. That's your unfinished business, not theirs. So I think that's why we're afraid of them sometimes.
I think that's fantastic. I love that.
I think it's absolute garbage. You're an idiot.
He's not lying.
We're used to it.
Yeah.
We are used to it.
I
am very sorry. That's just how she is.
I know. I'm absolutely kidding. I actually love that explanation. I've never heard that before, and it actually really tracks. Although, how do you feel like that guy came back because you had unfinished business on that? You guys felt guilty that you didn't find him?
I think that I think there are other cases. I think that one is a very valid idea, but I think there's other times where there are places that are so loaded with our expectations on these places, and I think a lot of hauntings and most paranormal phenomena, frankly, I think the longer you do it, the more you think they're all kind of related somehow. I think that that stuff is all part of the mass unconscious. And when you go to places like, for example, you go to Gettysburg, you get weird feelings. People see ghosts there all the time.
You know, kind of instinctually that something really terrible happened there. And it's as if it sort of becomes, it's as if it's a psychic kind of remnants, like something energetically was left over to kind of get our spidey senses tingling, so that we like intuitively know, oh, this isn't a safe space for me. Like
something bad happened to people like me here.
I should be careful.
A long time ago, so maybe I should not go here.
Some sort of self-preservation is happening there on like an energetic level.
Well, I mean, it's the most American soldiers dying.
53,000 dead in 4 days.
Yeah. Like you would think there'd be some sort of an evolutionary trigger there that would go, whatever happened here was bad for the human race, so please don't come here. We're going to do whatever we can to make you not hang out here.
And so they dealt with it by putting in a Wendy's and several pizza parlors.
And ghost hunting tours.
Yeah.
We talked about Gettysburg before because we said that who was it that had brought it up to us?
It was Shane Pittman. It was just Tuesday.
No, I know, but I'm saying it was before that even that we're saying that like the rocks there have like recordings of like that there's like audio, like there's you can like get recordings out of the rocks, like audio
like stone tape theory. That's been around for a while. I mean, there's ideas that there are certain types of what we use crystals, right? Like you're a witch, you love crystals. Crystals, they say, can contain energy. You go to somewhere like Brown Mountain. Jason and I have been to Brown Mountain before. Yeah, the mountain is made out of quartz crystal, and there's deep veins of it everywhere, and they see strange lights in the sky all over the place. If you bang those crystals together, they light up. So there's weird stuff in the environment where it seems that there are certain places, because of the geomagnetic anomalies or the geological makeup of the place, makes it spookier. It retains information somehow.
Brown Mountain is a complete mystery to me because all of you saw things except for me.
Well, you saw things later.
Yeah, thanks.
That was because he took mushrooms.
Take that, like. Yeah, not that day.
No, I was gonna say it's close to home, Jason. Sorry.
Have you ever talked about being abducted by aliens on the show?
No, not ever. I don't want to talk about it now. Here's the problem. I only know what you've told me. It gets wiped. I have no recollection of the entire Hellier experience except
for the best. For the best.
Well, explain it to them because I am of no help. I'll input where I can, but go ahead and take them through it.
Did you get probed?
No,
were you probed?
No.
Probably left part
of
it.
I hoped for it, but it never happened.
We were hoping it would be funny, but it was actually one of the scariest things I think I've ever seen. The reason we went to Brown Mountain is we were trying to get abducted by aliens the old-fashioned way. And when that didn't work, we said, well, let's try a cheat code.
It was on a technicality.
So we didn't know which one of us was going to take this journey, but we met a hypnotist in the middle of Illinois, and it was the middle of the night. It was so spooky because the hotel was basically abandoned.
Yeah.
And we all just kind of sat around like trying to figure out which one of us was going to go. And then the hypnotist did a test with everybody where you put your arm out and you imagine that there's a balloon to see who's the most susceptible. And it was a tie between Jason and Nick. And I think the clincher was, I remember I said to Lonnie, I said, hey, our hypnotist, I said, Jason doesn't believe in hypnosis because he'd been part of a hypnosis stage show. You had told a story about like just playing along.
I totally faked it for attention because that's sort of what I did.
And Lonnie took that as a challenge and said, okay, you're the one who's going to go. And I think that one worked. Oh
my God. Lonnie's here.
Lonnie's here, actually.
Yeah. And the idea was to put the idea of an alien abduction in Jason's head. without giving too much leading information, bring him back from that experience, and then interview him about it.
Yeah.
Can somebody send Lonnie the link to bring him into the show?
I will send it to him right now.
Somebody send Lonnie the link, because I need to be hypnotized just to feel happy about my children. He could hypnitize me into some happiness.
Probably do it. And if you want an alien abduction experience in there, he could do that too.
Jamie,
I could use the probing.
Jamie, this guy can hypnotize. He can't create miracles. Okay. Come on, Jamie. Aim
so
lower.
Jason had a much more frightening experience than we expected to have. The extraterrestrials looked nothing like they do in the movies, which was another weird detail.
Yeah.
They looked like they didn't have bones, and they kind of moved like jellyfish, and they were aware that Jason was telling us the stuff that was happening to him and shouldn't have been.
Yeah. I mean, one of the other really interesting details too is that Lonnie intentionally did not lead Jason too much. He just sort of led him to a moment where he would be taken, and then Jason filled in the rest. And that was really it. He was just sort of guiding him through that process, as opposed to like kind of giving him post-hypnotic, leading him and kind of creating a scenario. So it was really fascinating watching Jason's subconscious mind go through this process. Fascinating, also terrifying. Like go through this process, and we were the witnesses to it. We just
I have a question about it. So if they're jellyfish like and they don't have any bones or anything, how were they able to penetrate him when they probed him? How was it a muscular erection kind of thing without the bone? I mean, how can
I'm going to go with that probably.
Or do they just engulf him?
They have telekinesis.
A fluid situation.
They move their instruments with their mind.
That'll do it.
That'll do
it. And also, Jason, I know he's very receptive to all kinds of things, so I'm sure it wasn't.
Yes, Kayla's been manipulating me for almost 2 years.
Jason,
make me a show to do, puppet.
When they repeat to you that, like, when you hear that now, like that you saw that they were jellyfish like, that there was no bones, do you remember? No,
none.
You can't, like, it doesn't even like give you a chill. Like
Dana told me a long time ago never also to watch the footage, and I never have.
I honestly, like, it, even filming it, we went into it thinking it was going to be very funny, and like, even when Jason was kind of chosen for it, we were still sort of like, this is going to be really funny because he's a very positive person. It's going to be cheerful. It's probably going to be a hilarious like experience, and it immediately was not. And he was very emotionally. I think the thing that would upset you the most is just to see how freaked out you were, because
genuinely in
because you came out of it
discomfort.
Yeah, like he was crying. He was like very physically, you could tell he was very uncomfortable. But when you popped out, you kind of like wiped your eyes and went like, "Whoa!" Like what just happened? Like you didn't really know what had happened. So
I remember afterwards, Nick told me he was super mad because at first he thought I was joking till it turned really quickly.
Yeah,
it was funny because I was like, oh well, I hope he doesn't play along with this one too. And it was very clear very quickly that you were in the shit, and it was not fun. And
I was like, do I pull the plug on it? Like, the whole time I was like, what's gonna happen? Like, do I have to stop what's happening right now?
Where can we watch this?
It's in season 2
I don't want
of our series Hellier.
Especially Kayla watching this. No. That's
Also,
not why they're here.
Jason, were you hypnotized when you were with me at Disneyland and started crying about your wife?
All right, I'm done with it. Just fucking done with it.
I mean, she's right. You're kind of a crybaby. I'm just saying.
When have you ever seen me cry, Kayla?
All the time. Honestly, you're crying.
Oh yeah, I mean, Jamie holds the distinction of being the only person to find me at like 9 p.m. in my van by myself, crying, eating cheeseburgers.
I'm saying you do cry. You have a cry tendency.
I'm the biggest crybaby here. I sob openly.
Can you guys put me on the other side again? This is throwing me off.
Yeah, the whole thing.
I was under Kaylor. No!
Oh, I don't like that at all.
No! Switch me and Kaylor. Oh, hey, Kaylor, I got the upper hand finally.
You've been up there the whole time, haven't you?
No,
yes.
You've been above me. Oh, I have?
No.
Oh, okay. Just kidding.
Wow.
Anyway.
Hey, you know what I've been meaning to ask you, Jason? Have you been getting a lot of comments about Extreme Paranormal being back on Hulu?
You know that I have.
the second I saw it, there was like, oh no, he's gonna be inundated with messages from people.
Come on.
I knew. So here's the thing. Here's the thing that happens is like, usually when I get a barrage of new weirdos, it's usually you guys have put out something that I did with you years ago. and I normally am okay with it. But this new crop that came through, I was like, who the hell are these people?
Yeah, be rough.
Well, to be fair, it's extreme paranormal.
Like, well, it was hot garbage and it was terrible.
Not mild.
And so and I didn't know, they never told us it was coming back out.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden it came blasting in, and here they all were asking questions. And
like what? Like the questions. Let's hear them.
Well, they wanted to know, how dare I, for one.
Yes, how dare you? I could see that.
I ask you that every day. I say that to you every day. I say, how dare you, sir?
Yeah.
How dare you?
Look, I was a victim of poor editing.
Oh my goodness!
I honestly, and only one of the episodes is up there, thank God, because the
other one is even more. I was like,
well, I think there's cultural appropriation that's stopping that from seeing the light of day.
Yeah. Oh, please describe it in great detail.
It's not me. I was buried alive in a casket, so it wasn't me that did it.
Jason somehow just like falls into the position of being the guy who gets experimented on.
Yeah, you definitely got. Yeah,
and this was no different.
I have a unique skill set, and that was what that's what they preyed upon.
You know what's funny though? That show, you guys really were trailblazers, because it is kind of tame in comparison to most of the stuff that's on TV today.
Yeah, most TikToks
that's true,
are more scary.
Yeah, nice work.
I'd like to think that I've made my niche out there somewhere.
That needs to be a merch for you, Jason. Is a T-shirt that says "I'm the victim of poor editing." Please make some merch out of that.
Honestly, that's so funny. That is, I'm totally using that. Did you do that? And I go, no, I was edited poorly.
Yes, exactly.
We watched it live. We watched you in person do it. I go, that's the problem with editing.
Yeah.
But, like, you can hear it, like, where the audio doesn't match what, like, the lips. It's almost like it's not great.
Oh, it's fun.
Look, it all led to everybody being where they're supposed to be now, and we're here doing this show. I've had a lot of scotch tonight, so let's talk about other things.
Oh boy, what other?
Jason started crying about his wife.
Okay,
coming up this weekend, I got. Mulligan's out again. It happens. She gets
man,
hang down there.
And now she's in the wrong spot. She's not going to lose.
Put me back.
No,
put me back. Thank you.
Where you guys live, do you have people coming for trick or treating?
We do. It's
not a whole lot.
Not a ton.
We're in the suburbs now.
Yeah.
And so we're on a cul-de-sac. So last year we had so much candy.
We did.
That when the kids would show up,
we overshot.
We just kind of left it on a bowl on the porch, and we would hit the Ring camera, and I'd go, take a few. And they'd go, really? I'd be like, yeah, take a handful. And they'd be like, yes. So now we set a bad precedent, I think.
Our friend Connor is visiting us right now, and he and Greg had the genius idea. We have a place in where we live in Cincinnati, and we have a place called Jungle Gyms, which is incredible. It's like a food. It's hard to describe. How do you describe it?
Imagine the Willy Wonka of grocery stores.
Yeah, and it's like 3 stories. Any weird
look it
thing.
up. Like Google it sometime and look at it. It is insane.
It's incredible.
The store is arranged by countries.
Yes.
And it's massive. It's like bigger than any Walmart you've ever been in.
As a Canadian, I can go and get all of my Canadian snacks that I cannot.
You can get like Roots clothes there.
You can't. I wish you could get Roots clothes there, but you can get ketchup chips, which is a Canadian staple.
That's a Canadian thing, yeah.
Labatt's beer. Do you like to enjoy the Labatt's beer?
I'm not a good Canadian because I'm not a fan of.
Oh no, the beer. Yeah, you go over to the West Side Arena and rink around and skate a few times.
Yeah, hoser.
Played hockey. Do you play hockey up there with the
In all the years
That's
I've known
Canadian.
Dana, I've never heard her use the word hoser. ever.
That's
Hey,
intentional.
It's true.
I try not to even say a at all because I know that I will not live it down.
Suppresses
That's
it.
a boot. It's a boot time.
That also I try not to do. But the one thing that we are gonna do is they have a wall of disgusting sodas of like they have a ranch
flavored,
dressing soda,
mustard,
creamed corn. So we're gonna be the full size chocolate bar and weird sodas to little kids.
Oh, that's so fun.
Let them go ham. Yeah.
Also, are you guys ever tempted to be like, here's a Twix, here's a Snickers, here's a haunted rag doll from the 1800s? Like, you just put some of the artifacts in and see what happens?
Oh, we should. Let's grind up some bone dust or something and hand it to
saying.
them.
Welcome to our house.
We have a friend. Our friend John Tenney has the best Halloween thing.
He does the creepiest.
His gimmick is he puts a record on too slow in the background of his house. So the record's playing too slow, and he wears a trench coat. And when the kids come to the door, he puts his hands all the way in the trench coat, puts the candy in his fist, and then puts it in their bag and drops it so they can't see which candy it is.
No, the detail is when he takes it out of his pockets of his trench coat, when he goes to put it in their bag, he puts his hand all the way down to the bottom of their candy bag and then pulls his hand out. And then he just closes the door.
So you don't know which one
so
he gave
sinister.
you.
I feel like that's a crime. I feel
I'm concerned that we even know that now.
I feel like that's an Amber Alert. Wait, I feel like that's an Amber Alert.
Also a priest?
I think you guys are missing the point on Halloween.
No,
he is ordained.
He is actually he is ordained.
Well, there you go.
He's yeah.
I actually
one of the years my neighbors had we all had drinks next door, and so I was like, well, I gotta hand out candy. He goes, dude, just put a bowl out. So I put the bowl out. I go next door. They go, hey, do you have a wine opener? I go, yeah, let me run back home. I ran back home for the to get the wine opener. 90 seconds later, bowl was empty. Bowl was empty.
Immediately.
The first kid there was like, done. The whole thing. I was like, you're evil. Kids are evil.
Did you catch them on the ring?
I didn't ever.
It took Jamie 4 hours on the ring to put it together.
Oh, right. It's fun. I had an uncle who used to I had an uncle who there was always a dummy in front of their house that would hold the bowl of candy. And so you'd go to get the candy, they would say take one, and you'd reach for the bowl and the dummy would lurch out at you because it was my uncle in a costume with a mask.
I love those houses.
I might do that. I might do something like that this year, actually.
But then every once in a while, so then the next year we're like, okay, oh wow.
Is this it?
That's it.
There's a tram that runs through it.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
it's like you could spend an entire day in there.
If you're ever in Cincinnati, you have to go to Jungle Gyms just to experience it.
I am now going to be in Cincinnati. Like that's all there is to it.
Hey, speaking of Halloween traditions, Jason, are you going to teach the boys how to go toilet papering?
So it's fallen out of fashion here.
Oh, boo!
It's not a thing. So when there was that weird shortage of toilet paper here during 2020, it no longer became socially accepted to do that.
You got to bring it back.
Well, I would, and I think my kids would definitely be up for it.
You got to bring it back. If toilet papering was a real big deal where Jason and I grew up.
Can't even believe it was like
houses. There were toilet papering wars.
Yes,
houses you would save up all year just to buy your toilet paper, and then there would be houses that would look like Christmas morning. They were so full of toilet paper.
Greg and I broke in a house once.
Should we be talking about this?
Is statute of limitations?
They know it's us. You apologize to the dad. We're clear.
Only 7 years, dude. It's only 7 years. You're good. Let's hear the whole story.
Yeah.
We toilet papered the living hell out of this one house. I mean, so many rolls. It's insane.
Yeah.
And we knew they had a dog, so we had loaded up on hot dogs, and then the dog never came out. So we were like, where's this dog? We want to feed him hot dogs. So we opened the front door nobody locked their doors where we're from. You opened the front door and we were in their house. And then the dog never showed up. So we just started hiding hot dogs all over their house.
And we stacked all of the empty toilet paper rolls like bowling pins in front of their door.
And there were hundreds
inside the house.
the entire living room floor was just upended toilet paper rolls. And so the next day they woke up and this was a really popular thing when we were kids.
It was like socially, like
parents
the
took their kids out.
teachers got in on it. Like like it was like everyone in Troy was like about toilet paper.
But it was great.
Well, in their defense, they didn't get cell phone service in 2003.
I think crimes and vandalism were totally cool. Not a big deal. Back then, everyone was totally fine. Honestly, back then, drunk driving, not a big deal. You'd wrap your tree around your car around a tree, and the cop would go like, "Hey, you hammered?" He goes, "Of course I am."
I had a friend whose dad used to drive around with a road beer in his front pocket.
Wait, that was me. That's my dad. What are you talking about? It was a Schlitz.
And it tracks. He's old enough to be a dad of your friend.
Oh yeah, don't you?
Sorry.
So, guys, when you have two of your kid haunted objects that are at war, how are you guys dealing with it?
Also, how do you know that they're at war? For the noob in the room.
I mean, it's all different. So usually, like for instance, we have an object in the museum that we refer to as a black mirror. It's a scrying mirror. So if you don't know what scrying is it's like crystal ball gazing. It's the action of kind of looking at in this case in a mirror that is black. So it's not like it's reflective, but it's black. So
it's like looking outside of a window while you have the lights on in your house and it's dark outside. Yeah,
you see a reflection, but it's not reflecting the same way a regular mirror would.
So it's like Saruman's ball.
Yes.
In the Lord of yes.
Good reference. I'm a big Tolkien nerd, so yes.
I haven't watched the new show yet, but I'm a big fan of the movies and books.
I haven't watched it yet either. I'm waiting. I'm gonna watch it all soon. So with this mirror specifically, it is it's sort of like the kid you don't want your kid hanging out with, and it's mainly because what we've realized about this mirror is it acts as it's a bit of a battery. So when we bring it into spaces with other objects, the other objects start acting up. So weird things will happen around them. Things that we, wouldn't normally be experiencing in spaces might happen.
95% of the stuff that people send us might be doing something weird for them, but I think that there's some kind of a link between them and the item.
Yeah.
And that's what's causing a lot of the stuff. So most stuff, we're pretty upfront. 95% of the stuff people send us doesn't do anything for us, but it does if the mirror's around. And I think it's because we take the mirror on tour and people are looking into it. And it typically shows people their own corpse. That's the thing that shows them the most. They see their own corpse. We've seen people who have watched themselves in a burning room. They've seen their reflection in a burning room, and then they felt themselves grab them by the arms, and then they got big red welts all over their arms. It's the craziest thing. It's insane. It's the one item that we show people if they are like, I've never had a paranormal experience before. We're like, try the mirror. That one gives it. And then after we're off tour and hundreds of people have looked in this thing, we bring it back home, we put it on the shelf, and the stuff around it just starts acting up.
Like what? Can you give me an example of like the stuff around it acting up?
Dolls move.
Things would move. Strange
things fly
sounds,
off the shelves.
Just like strange sounds, bumps, like things that are not normal to the environment. So a lot of that kind
We've
of
had
stuff.
Full paintings come off
Fly
the wall.
off walls.
Yeah. And then you get the presence. Every once in a while you'll feel a presence around you.
Seeing strange kind of things in the periphery.
Yeah.
Shadows kind of moving.
Have you guys looked in the mirror?
Fuck no.
Never.
I mean, can I swear?
Yes.
No.
I
don't need to know what I'm afraid of. Of course you did.
Oh God, of course you did.
I don't remember what you saw. Did you see? Are you comfortable talking about it?
I know that I felt like I was in a Spider-Man movie being engulfed by a black goo.
Yes. You know what's funny? So we have an object in the museum that we call the fetid face. And again, so most of the things that come to us, they arrive at our P.O. box. Sometimes we get things anonymously. We get a lot of things anonymously. And we received this mask that we call the fetid face anonymously. And when we got it, we opened the box and it's a mask that was at that time covered in human feces.
So naturally Jason wears it.
So after we cleaned it very well, one of the things that we like to do is we do a lot of experiments with the objects because we want to see if we can capture any activity, and we want to try to figure out why they're active.
You're like,
And
I
so-
wonder how quickly I can get pink eye.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So we cleaned it. We cleaned it beforehand. Jason put it on. He wore it for like 40 minutes. He did the weirdest. I have the videos and footage. He's laying on his back. He's wearing it. He's in a meditative state. Suddenly, like, it's Thriller, and his arms start rising up. Like, but it happens slowly. Like, it happened over the course of like 25 minutes. It was like, until he was laying on his back with his hands up in the air. And after 45 minutes, he takes them. He wakes up like he was risen from the dead. He just sits up. He pulls the mask off, and he runs to the bathroom and projectile vomits.
Oh,
like just
okay. Well, so we're just gonna tell all of my stories today.
Yeah,
yeah.
Just
100%.
It's Halloween. We're telling the spooky ones.
Yeah.
But you said that you thought there was like an element of like astral projection, like you had left your body and gone somewhere.
All right,
So-
Katie, I'm knocking off.
Yes.
Somebody asked where we got the mirror, and the mirror came from. There was a woman that became obsessed with it. She took a scrying mirror workshop at a like a paranormal conference, a New Age conference in Ohio, and they're not uncommon. Scrying mirror workshops aren't uncommon. You can buy them. They're really just frames that have a black glass in them. And I'm almost positive that Rosemary Ellen Guiley, who some of the paranormal fans might recognize, was the one teaching this workshop. And this woman became so obsessed with this mirror, she would sit in a little closet with it and just stare into it. She became withdrawn from her family. She started to get nervous because the only things that she saw in the mirror were terrible things. We never found out what that was. She wouldn't talk about it. It got to the point where her daughter took it away from her because she was obsessed with it. She said that it had absorbed her. And her daughter was the one who sent it to us and said, listen, I don't care what you do with it. My mom can't have it. Test it. Throw it away. I don't care. And now it's literally sitting right back there.
Mm-hmm.
Grab it. You should grab it.
Honestly, that's about the time I met my wife, Melissa. So honestly, I think the thing switched me to an alternate dimension where I'm now suffering in eternal purgatory.
Makes a lot of sense.
We'll show it to you.
PO box? What like if it's a UPS store, like what are they like? You know what? You can't. This can't be here anymore. You guys can't have. Oh God.
Here you go. You want to look into it? We'll do it.
Yeah, bring it up.
Just for the viewers.
Taylor, you don't have much to live for except the girls. Go ahead and look in there.
Okay.
Please, this is the portrait of Dorian Gray. I'm dying on the inside.
Oh.
Our post office box is insane. We've literally gotten boxes of human hair, masks that are covered in poop. I mean, the craziest stuff. I mean, the voodoo dolls constantly. I have so many haunted dolls that I don't know what to do with
Lots
them
of
all.
Yeah, what do you do with all the dolls?
They're just sitting out here. They're on a shelf.
eBay.
No.
There's a
That's
lot
our
of that.
rule. Our rule is for the museum, we never ever buy a haunted object. We could give you a full 2-hour lecture about why you don't buy haunted objects on eBay. They are just. Well, I mean, if you don't like money, go ahead. You just want to throw your money. You'd be better off burning your money.
Are there haunted objects on eBay?
One of the
Are
things
people
that-
trying to sell haunted stuff?
there's tons of objects that are haunted on eBay, but one
Sure.
of the things, like after all these years of kind of dealing with objects like this, that we've noticed two things. And that is when we're coming across an actual haunted object, one of two things will happen. The person who is in possession of the object will either be so obsessed with it that they would give it away for anything, or they're so afraid of it that they wouldn't even think about selling it because they're trying to get rid of it.
They're trying to throw it in a lake.
As much as humanly
They don't want
possible.
anything to do with it.
So there often when people are trying to sell haunted objects, you can kind of assume that it is very good likelihood that you're buying a dud.
Yeah,
A dud.
for sure.
Oh, Hell House. Did anybody remember the movie Hell House? Cassie just remembered a movie that scared her in the 70s, or him.
Hell House. I don't think I've ever seen that.
I don't think
By
so.
the way, I was going to tell you guys, I worked at Lakeshore Entertainment out here for like 7.5 years. They did the Underworld movies. They did Mothman
Yeah.
Prophecy, Exorcism of Emily Rose.
that's a good
on
movie too.
Yeah. I was on the sales team that we would always like sell the films internationally.
Oh wow!
And those horror flicks, man. Oh, we had the rights to the Hellraiser movies.
No shit. That's
That's
awesome.
great.
And Children of the Corn.
They just remade there's a new one with the woman. The woman's the Hellraiser.
It's great.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
Pincushion
Was
head.
it good? I haven't seen it yet.
It's
I haven't
spooky.
seen it yet.
Yeah,
It's good.
They did a good job. There's a little more to the lore behind the Cenobites in this one, which
if
is
you're
fun.
a fan of that.
Yeah.
Did we talk the X and Barbarian are the new ones that I saw that I thought were great.
I want to see both of them so bad. They already have a prequel to X out. Did you see that?
Wait, what?
It's real. Yeah, it's coming. They shot them both simultaneously during the pandemic.
Oh,
So
that's so
great.
smart.
So great. Oh yeah, you should talk about the ring, the death ring you put on.
Yeah.
Speaking of our post office box, you want to hear a funny story?
Yeah, someone sent along with haunted objects and weird things, people sometimes will send us things to the PO box, and we had a small little gift box that arrived, and I opened it, and there was no note attached to it. I couldn't see anything attached to it. There was just like a little tag, and I thought, oh, someone sent me a ring. This is so nice. And
beautiful little ring.
I put it on my finger, and I was like, oh my gosh, it fits. And then I noticed that hanging from the ring was a little tag, and I flipped the tag over. Well, the ring is literally on my finger, and it says, whoever puts this ring on will die in 30 days. And I was like,
unless you call 3 more friends,
yes,
and have them call 3 more friends.
Very complicated chain letter.
Yes. Luckily,
by the way, Dana, was that 29 days ago?
No, it was last year. Thank God.
This was your cue to just go.
Yeah, I messed it. Thankfully, I'm still here.
Yeah.
I was sweating a little bit though near the end. I'm not gonna lie.
Greg, what's your for you? What's the object that's affected you the most?
Oh gosh, I think it's probably Billy. We've got a Congolese idol that someone gave us in a Walmart parking lot down here, and it had caused the family to all have terrible nightmares. And their kid, they didn't really take things seriously until their kid said, the little man is coming into my room at night and he's pulling the covers off of me while I sleep. And they'd found this statue, this about this big, ivory eyes, ivory symbols, pretty old, wrapped and bound in a burlap sack under a crawl space in their house. So they opened it up, and sure enough, they all start having nightmares. The little man comes in the room at night, pulls the covers off. And the guy heard us on Coast to Coast one night talking about the museum, and he hit us up and he said, listen, you're only half an hour from me. If you'll meet me halfway, I'll give this thing to you. And I told Dana, and she's like, no way, Jose. So naturally, I did it anyway. Dana has a very funny picture of me getting back into the car, holding, because she was ready to call 911 in case something crazy happened.
I was in the car with my finger on the dial. I was like, I'm not going to get murdered today.
And then sure enough, we start having nightmares.
Okay, I misinterpreted why Dana was saying no. I thought it was because she was scared of the object. She did not want the stranger to
kind of
kill
maybe
you.
both. Maybe both.
Okay.
Here's the question: was this before or after the Tammy Faye Baker incident?
No, what incident?
With the lady that looked like
I know. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, this is before.
Before.
Yeah, because we had Billy with us. Probably Billy was the reason we did not get murdered during that incident.
So you guys start having nightmares because of Billy.
Terrible nightmares. Almost weird, like strange, prophetic nightmares. And we start taking Billy out on the road. At this point, we just called him the Idol of Nightmares. We eventually started calling him Billy because he's an idol, and it was our kind of inside joke, like, oh, hand me Billy. And then somebody heard it, and then everybody called him Billy. And
did he have eyes without a face?
He does have a face. He has a very imposing face. And other people started having nightmares, and then they would start to realize that, wait, maybe I should pay attention to the things that are in this dream. And then people started bringing offerings to Billy over and over and over, just out of nowhere. Like there was one guy who was a voodoo practitioner that we met at an event in Mississippi, and he came specifically to give an offering to Billy. We found out much later that it was actually thanks to an archaeologist from the Field Museum. He was able to get in touch with a friend who specialized in African art and found out exactly what Billy was. Billy is a Kisi figure from the Congo, and these were figures that were often desecrated because missionaries came in and they just took them as art pieces. They desecrated them, and these were items that the Congolese people would use to speak to their gods, to speak to their ancestors, to speak with the land. And most of them that you see have nails hammered into them because that's how they would make agreements in front of the gods, in front of the spirits. So these were items of great significance, great cultural significance, and probably the reason a bunch of white people were having nightmares. So when they found this thing, and Billy didn't have any nails, which meant he probably belonged to some kind of a shaman for personal spiritual work. But the crazy thing about it is the way that these items would communicate, the way that the spirits would communicate with you is through dreams. But they were protective. They were meant to connect you with the rest of the unseen world. So our my views on haunted objects changed a lot because of our work with Billy and because of the things that we found out about it. And now we don't really even take Billy out on the road anymore because we don't want it to be disrespectful. So we often talk about Billy as sort of a lesson in how to rethink the way that we interact with ghosts and the way that we interact with things that maybe culturally are scary to us, but are very important and pieces of reverence to other cultures.
Just to give narcolepsy a little play, because that he called it fried wedding.
It's a nice day for I have to. So, yes. Can I ask? So these people are like, oh, this doll is giving us bad dreams. We better give this away. I'm a rube. I would be like, or throw it out. Like, so what? Are there stories of people trying to dispose of items and something worse like why do people have the instinct to, instead of dispose of it themselves, to pass it on someplace else?
Fear. I think fear of repercussions.
Of like repercussions.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's people who've tried to get rid of stuff. We have a book in our collection that a woman had some pretty terrible experiences with, probably a bit too graphic to go into, and it has bloodstains on this book, and she left it in the trash and moved all the way across the country, found it in her luggage.
No, thank you. Well, that's all the time we have.
Trust me. Hey, listen, I'm dealing with the same thing. I have a garage full of like kids' clothes and stuff. And I keep going to throw it away, and sure enough, it stays in the garage. It stays. My wife can't let it go. She's like, no, this is a onesie the baby wore. I go, I know, let it go.
Greg and Dana hold the distinction of being the only people, if I hear from them and they want to hang out and do a project of any kind, that my wife has to have every single detail before I leave.
Well, to be fair, it's because there's a history of things not going the way we planned.
Also, it sounds like there's a history of you guys putting Jason in pretty compromising positions.
Let's be honest.
He puts himself
there.
I'm with Greg and Dana. Listen.
Do you know what it is?
He's always in that position. That's just who Jason is.
Yes, we're all enablers. Is what we are.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to get out and do and then I just get sucked back into some other crazy scenario. When Hellier came out, I didn't know it had been released. And I was at a bakery in Elmira, New York, and this guy comes up and he's like, hey, you're the alien guy, right? And I was like, pardon me?
That's so funny.
And I was like, what? And he's like, I know you. You're the alien guy. They took you. And I was like, what now? And I have no idea that it was released in this. I mean, he didn't stop. And it wasn't until he said Greg's name that I was like, oh. No idea. I had no idea it can come out.
That's great.
So sometimes this stuff comes back to me and I don't even know it's coming. And then I'm like, wow,
I love it.
All right.
You'll know the next one. You'll know because you'll see that one before it comes out. Jason plays a very big part in the feature-length documentary that we have. That we've been working on for a few years, and it's very scary. And Jason arguably has one of the scariest moments in the whole thing.
It's also the reason I'm now retired from the paranormal work because my wife said I had to.
You are not.
Yeah. For now.
For now.
I last night I did a ghost talk at Mansfield University, and I had some kids ask about Hellier, and I wasn't expecting it.
I love
That's so
it.
cool.
That's so great. Well, get ready because I think the next one's going to be bigger than Hellier was.
Yeah.
Is it the story with the message, Jason? The answering machine?
No, that's the Amityville stuff.
Yeah. It's
the one where I accidentally
you
almost
retired.
sacrificed my kid in the water.
Yeah, good job. Nice work. Nice work. Jason offered his child to.
No, I joked about maybe offering them.
He jokingly did.
Yeah, but ghosts don't have senses of humor.
Yeah, apparently, they're very literal. Which
yeah, trust me, there's a lot of truth in every joke. Please, he offered his child.
It's like
he's still here and he's fine.
So you think he's just a vessel for an ancient monster?
Isn't he also the one that the wet puddle was in front of his bed?
That's the one. That's the story. So Kate is skeptical of all of the things.
Ooh.
But I told her that story in California.
No, I'll tell you, I'm skeptical in the sense that I don't have it. Right? It's not happened to me, but I believe when you tell these stories, I'm like, oh, that happened to you. Of course that happened to you. I just have not experienced it. I'm not like Jason's lying. Like it's not, that's not, my skepticism stops at, because I've not experienced, but again, I explained this the other night. I said, listen, also like bacteria is there. I can't see it without a microscope, but I know it's there. So just because a thing hasn't happened to me doesn't mean it doesn't exist. But yeah, you told me the story, and it's a absolute nightmare.
Oh, and I almost had a heart attack at your house.
Yeah, I mean, but that's
dude, you almost have a heart attack every other day. That's not that big of a deal.
Kate almost killed me twice.
You're a walking almost heart attack. Please let it go.
Oh God.
I mean, but that was your heart issue after having COVID.
Yeah, I'm fine.
You have a name for it. He's at Disney. This is after he had cried. He's crying about his wife. Oh, I really miss her. It's 2 days.
I think you need to take.
And then he's like, oh God, it's. So I put my Apple Watch on him, and his pulse was like 126. His heart was beating out of his chest. He's just sitting there, and I'm like, am I watching you have a heart attack? What do we do now? And he's like, just stop talking.
That might have actually been blood sugar related because so Kate and I went to the Avengers campus in Disneyland, and we went to the Ant-Man bar.
Oh yeah.
And we drank a lot. And they had this thing that had honey straws. Well, Greg, I mean, you've known me a long time. I asked for 2 honey straws, and it turns out as a diabetic, that was probably not the best idea.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no. Well,
and then
the one broke, and they were really giving you a hard time about giving you a second one. And you're like, can I just have it, please?
It's not what Walt would have wanted. Yeah.
Yeah.
He would have wanted me to have the second one.
They should serve it with an insulin chaser.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jamie.
Hey, I have a Halloween question. What is everybody dressing up for Halloween this year? And do you guys even dress up?
Yeah,
we did.
You guys have had legendary costumes over the years.
We did. We do. Yeah.
There was a year when we dressed up as Ed and Lorraine Warren.
We did.
And the costumes were so good that they actually used the photos of Dana in Lorraine Warren's obituaries.
I was so embarrassed.
That's absolutely amazing.
I was like,
that's crazy.
So good.
So terrible.
I'm this year. I was just a ghost. I have
a simple ghost.
A simple ghost, white sheet with some eye holes in it. I wore that the other night.
You guys were 11 and Sheriff Hopper too, right?
We did.
We were.
Yes,
yeah.
My dreams of becoming 11 came true.
Yeah.
Yeah, we usually.
Dana, have you ever gone as the lead singer from Sleater Kinney, also known as Carrie Brownstein?
People tell me this all the time.
Thank you. She does not believe me when I say this.
I have heard it in the past. I know.
Yes.
Carrie
It's-
Brownstein's like one of the coolest dudes
The
ever.
greatest actress, the greatest comedian. I mean,
She's very
Portlandia was
funny.
legendary.
By the way,
Yeah.
Greg, she's gonna love to hear when you say that she was one of the coolest dudes of all time. She's
I
gonna
know, I love it. I have
Everybody's a dude.
when my hair is down, my hair is very long and black, and I look exactly like her
Yeah.
character in the what are their names?
Oh, the feminist
The
bookshop.
feminist
Yeah,
bookshop.
you
Feminist
do.
bookshop.
It basically is
about
just
it.
me. And
She
that
wears,
one of
when
those
she
scenes.
puts the fake mustache on, and she's
She's
the
Lance.
guy with
Lance.
Fred Armisen's the
They
girl. And
drop her
she's
voice.
like, hey, what's happening?
Working on my
Carrie
bike.
Brownstein's really, really funny.
Oh, there we go.
You guys should go as her. You should go as Portlandia.
We could
We
do
should.
that.
Bird
should.
on it.
Put a bird on it. We could do
Bird on
it.
it.
You got to get out of there.
You gotta get. I gotta
Jeff
get out of there.
Jeff Goldblum, your buddy Jeff Goldblum had the knot story. He goes, "This is the knot."
Oh yes, I forgot about that. That's
Oh,
true.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah,
Jim-
we'll have to. do
Oh,
that.
yeah. What are you going as this year?
I don't have a costume yet. So I'm just
Loser.
like, yeah, I know. I don't have anything. I,
Can you
I
dress
always
up
try to,
when we
like,
take the kids out, Kate?
well, I usually try to play off of what I might go as Duke Kaboom again. James is going as Zurg, and Neil's going as Bumblebee the Transformer, and his costume actually transforms. Like if he gets down into like a Sphinx pose, it's a car,
That's
and then when he
amazing.
comes out, it's Bumblebee. It's really pretty epic. But I think probably I'll just end up going as Duke Kaboom again and be with Zurg.
Sure. Jason, what are you
What
going
about
to be?
So Melissa and I, Melissa's being Britney Spears from the Oops, I Did It Again video, and
Yeah.
I'm being the astronaut from that video.
Oh, dang.
You're totally going to get
Always
some
had
that night.
legendary
Yeah, your
costumes.
costumes have always my favorite. I loved it when you went as Alf,
Yeah.
the guy from Alf.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kung Fu Panda is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one too.
You
my
never not
God.
had good ones.
I remember you ruined our Bigfoot costume because you dyed it blue to be the Beast.
The first one, yes.
From X-Men, he was the Beast from
It
X-Men.
was a great costume.
That's a good costume.
Great.
That's super funny.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, your costumes were always the
Kayla,
best.
are you going to be one of the Sanderson sisters, or what are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm going to be one of the Sanderson sisters. Yeah.
Nice.
No, I'm going to be tomorrow. I'm with Claire we go to Trunk or Treat at her school, and she's already told me she's going to be a zombie. She loves soccer, and so she's a zombie soccer player. And she told us I have to be zombie soccer AYSO coach. I have to be a zombie soccer coach. But we are going to a party Saturday night, and my wife has already. As a husband, your costume is usually dictated by what your wife chooses.
Yes, correct.
You're like, everyone's like, what's your costume? I don't know. I'll have to see what my wife. So she bought a really sexy Top Gun flight suit kind of thing. So I'm going to be Tom Cruise, and I'm breaking out my Old Navy leather fighter jacket. And I'm gonna have a t-shirt, and then I'm going to have a volleyball and spin it.
Nice. That's perfect.
Amazing.
I'm going to be top. I'm going to be Maverick, I think.
So good.
So I, in my head, was like, "Oh, you guys are going to like a family party." Nope. Okay, not a family party. I'm Kate's dressing up.
We're going to a
sexy.
parent. We're actually going to a childless party on Saturday night for the first time in years.
Yeah, that was very evident in the sexy
We're very
costume.
excited. Actually, it was super hard to find a babysitter Halloween weekend. Really?
Yeah.
We went way down the depth chart. We found this homeless dude who lives over near the Hollywood Bowl, and we gave him a couple bottles of wine. He's just going to hang out near the house and make sure.
How great is it for Greg and Dana though that they can go somewhere? Like, do you have to get a sitter for any of the objects? Like, how does that work?
I'm sure
I'm
Billy
Billy's in
Idol
charge.
needs constant supervision.
Constant supervision.
Sometimes, yeah, we need the cat sitter / object sitter.
Well, you know, it's funny. We have a hard time getting people to cat sit for us because they do it once and they see the house and then they don't want to do it again. We've had the same problem, like electricians that didn't want to come and do work on our studio because
they were like, nope,
they're
not
so uncomfortable.
dealing with this.
Our plumber, he saw the Bigfoot cast and he got really upset because our plumber, I don't know how we just find these people or these people find us. He had been cursed by Bigfoot for over hunting in his youth, and now he can't be around the forest. Otherwise,
He's
Bigfoot
afraid.
will come after him. He's hid on like our plumber was cursed by Bigfoot because he overhunted, and then Bigfoot came after him, being the forest spirit, and chased him up a telephone pole. And so now he can't go near the forest because Bigfoot will come after him and keep him out of the forest.
A reminder, all listeners, they live in the middle of Ohio.
Yeah, and it's a great statement on society, as in like, you know, take It's like the old Indian way: take what you know, don't take too much. So he's overhunting. That's on
true.
him.
It is.
Don't overhunt. I think
Greg and Dana, you'll appreciate this. Yesterday, I saw a certain Bigfoot hunter in our Walmart and hid.
You know what's funny? I was thinking about him. Jason and I made a documentary years ago called The Bigfoot Hunter Still Searching, and it was about the craziest Bigfoot hunter ever. Like, the guy just handed us loaded weapons and told us to save the last bullet for ourselves if we didn't kill whatever was coming after us.
Mhm.
And it's a hilarious documentary, but I was like, man, I would love to revisit this documentary. I'd love to go hang out with him. But then he like posted a bunch of stuff about how like a bunch of mass shootings were false flags. I was like, oh, I guess I can never do this. That's it.
He caused a bit of a stir locally because he accused the local condemned Pizza Hut of hiding deceased COVID bodies.
He did.
Yeah.
Oh God.
It became an issue.
He got kicked off Facebook, so now he has a fake name on Facebook. Bigfoot hunters.
So what's next for you guys? I mean, we've kept you long enough here. What's next?
Well, we have a surprise dropping on Halloween. We've been working on a project. Jason was part of this project. It comes out on Halloween. We're not exactly sure what time, but
it will be out.
It'll be everywhere, and it's very exciting. It's something we've been working on for a while. It's going to be spooky. It's funny, and that'll help tide people over until the big documentary about the crone comes out, which Jason is also in. We're hoping that'll be out sometime the first part of next year and scare the pants off everybody, and maybe make them think differently about ghosts. So that's it. That's what's coming next.
Where
That's
should
awesome.
we be watching on Halloween? What website or what streaming service?
As long as you follow us on social media, on any one of the social media.
Oh yeah, you'll see it.
Platforms. We'll be pushing it out.
Yeah,
today.
and I'm sure because Jason's in it. So if you're friends with Jason,
I will pump it out all over our stuff for sure.
Yeah,
it's great.
I love, like, my wife does not like scary movies at all, and there's a lot of people. I love. She's like, why would you watch this? It's terrifying. And I go, I don't know why. Why is it that we love to be? I love to be terrified. I love, like, the scarier the movie, the better I like it. Why is that?
Because the scarier the movie, the warmer the blanket.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's very true.
It's an excuse to cuddle.
Look at you, Mulligan. Look at you. Look at big girl all grown up tonight. Yeah.
I love it. Scare, though. I love it. We need to wrap. We kept you guys so much longer than we wanted.
Thanks for having us.
You guys have to come back. You're like our only people who aren't parents. That honestly, it's even more parenting than the parents who are on the show.
Well, we love it.
Such a correlation between what you do and parent. I don't know. It makes me laugh so hard when you guys.
Great. It's great. Anytime. Thank you for letting us hang out in the parents lounge.
We love it.
You came over to check out the show. This podcast will be up, I guess, next week, Jason, on
Monday.
iTunes.
It'll be on Monday on iTunes and wherever you get your podcasts. We do our regular live show Tuesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. And we have all kinds of crazy guests. Mindy Sterling from Austin Powers is coming up soon. Larry the Cable Guy drops by.
Richard Marks, Dave Keckner. We have a lot of guests. But it's really going to for us, it's great because as parents, we use this show not just about parenting, but as an escape. It's our little break. So you guys really, it's all in the spirit of Halloween, and it's super fun. So I can't thank you enough for coming in and sharing all the stories. Thank you guys so much.
Anytime, guys. Thank you. Happy Halloween, everybody.
And thank you, Billy.
Wrap it, everybody. Thank you so much. Be sure to subscribe, love, review, and everything. And definitely go and follow Greg and Dana. What they're doing is great. And we'll put all the links out when we put this thing out. And that's it. We'll see you guys all next week here in the Parents Lounge.
Happy Halloween. Good night, everybody.